Hello and welcome to Celebrating Simple Life. I'm Kimberly and I've been planning parties and incredible events for the past 15 years. I'm passionate about connecting people, making gatherings purposeful, and making the most out of every moment. Join me as we learn together how to find joy, celebrate the simple things in life, use events to grow your business, entertain with purpose, and have a whole lot of fun along the way. Cheers to Celebrating Simple Life. Before I introduce today's guest, I want to share a new podcast shout out on Instagram from Alex Catlin. She shares, "What an awesome episode with Andrea at L'Exquisite Clothing." Thank you so much for sharing this review on your Instagram stories, Alex Catlin. It truly means the world to me that you took the time to share this episode. It was such a good one too. Please email Kimberly@celebratingsimplelife.com to get your free gift. Today on Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast, I'm chatting with Chelsey Ast, owner of Bark Design Studio. Chelsey is a brand expert, marketing genius, graphic designer, all in one. Starting her graphic design career in Calgary and now operating out of Regina with clients around the world, she has an art as her passion, an intense eye for design, and she finds joys in the beauty of everyday life. She has the ability to take ideas and turn them into art in the form of graphic design. I have had the pleasure of getting to know Chelsey as a client with the incredible branding she's done for Shine Collective Canada, and now as a friend as well. She is absolutely lovely, beautiful, and insightful. So tune in to our chat all about growing her graphic design business, life as an entrepreneur, and everything in between. Hello, Chelsey. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I am so happy to be sitting here with you today.
Ditto. Thanks for having me.
Came and visited me all the way to the metropolis of Saskatoon from Regina.
Yeah, it's quite a treat.
I know. Hey, it's a sunny day. It's beautiful, hanging out.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to talk with you. I have been thinking about this and I have so many things that I'm excited to chat about. And how are we going to fit this all in? I don't know. We might have to do this again already. We haven't just started.
I'm game.
So you are the infamous Bark Design Studio.
Yes.
And you are a very talented graphic designer.
Well, thank you.
How is this what you have you always been in graphic design? Like, give, for our listeners who haven't had the pleasure of knowing you, which after today they will, and they can find you and see all of your beautiful work. But how did you start life as a graphic designer? Like, where did it begin?
Well, I would say growing up that I always had an interest in art, in design. I was always creative, but I grew up in a really small town in Saskatchewan, so I'm a small town Sask girl at heart. I worked at a flower shop after work, so that was my creative outlet, was creating centerpieces and bridal and all that kind of stuff. I taught music and I took art classes outside of school because there wasn't a lot of opportunity for that kind of thing in my small town. So that always kind of ran through my blood. My grandparents are super creative. My grandma's always doing something crafty, and my grandpa's always building stuff or welding stuff.
Oh, I love that.
So that's kind of the background of my creativity. Everybody says, where does it come from? And I think that's kind of where it stems from. The business side of it, I've always been interested in because my dad owns a couple of corporations. So that kind of ran through my blood growing up, and the thought of business always was there in my mind, but did I think I would be in business, go to school for business? That just wasn't a fit for me, right? So it was kind of like, that's there, but not forefront yet.
Yes.
So when I had to make a decision, what am I going to go to school for? There was all kinds of different things, and when posed what I wanted to do as an adult, art was there, and I'm sure my parents weren't super excited about me going to art school. Did really well in high school, but when it came down to it, that was my passion, and I think they just said, follow your dreams and do what you need to do. So I do have a 4-year degree in graphic design, and the school that I went to in Medicine Hat kind of started out small and then let you choose your ending, which was really neat. So I chose graphic design simply because I saw a future. So there was that business thing in the back of my head that was saying, you can't paint for the rest of your life or make a living doing this as easy as it you get wrapped up in it in school, and there's lots of different aspects of going to art school. But I think it was the business part of my brain that says you need to make this a career. And it all comes down to I wanted to make my parents proud. How can I do this as a living and do what I love, but then also turn this into a career for myself.
Like prove that this works.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
I can do this, and I can make a living out of it and support myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So was Bark was this like where it all started? Has this always been your company? So what did you do first?
So. Funny story. I started, when I finished school, I wanted to get the travel bug out of myself. Yeah. So I did, what did I do? I did New Zealand, Fiji. I lived and worked in Australia for quite a while. I did Thailand and Asia on the way home. And my parents said, you have to go to school first, get your degree, because there's lots of stuff that can happen while you're away. So I did that. Came back and I was ready to go. I was, got that out of my system. I was ready to work and I was ready to kind of find my dream job. Little did I know that it wasn't, nobody tells you in school, well, it's going to be really difficult to find a job after. And it was. So I was applying, from coast to coast, trying to find some fit to be a junior designer, get your foot in the door with no experience and just getting home from, a couple-year vacation, as a lot of employers would look at it.
Doesn't show the resume.
No. So on the other hand, on the flip side, I did interview with it was a liquor company, so they designed liquor bottles, packaging, those little twisted shooters, and I thought, and they were an Australia, New Zealand based company, so I interviewed with them. They were requesting 8 years plus experience in the graphic design field, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. At this point I was applying to every place I could find. I was desperate. So I applied with them. I got the interview. Really surprised, drove out to Calgary, and before I could even get home, they called and offered me the position. I had 0 years experience.
Wow.
So
don't sell yourself short is the moral of the story.
No, and the reason that they hired me, so I was thinking, I've traveled all this time, and I really was, thinking of that as a negative. The reason they hired me was because of my life experience and the fact that I had that to build on versus just somebody that had went straight to school and worked
to job.
Yeah, so they were looking for that person in the workplace that was experienced in life, which gave me a hand up and kind of got me started.
That would be a little boost to the confidence there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. So
then from there you worked at different places off and on.
There was that job, and because I was in Calgary, and I have a string of bad events, which I'm sure I'll talk about, but that job was great. I thought I was doing great in it. I was doing great in it. I made lots of good friends. And then the economic downfall happened in Calgary. So that was unfortunate. And they cut my position completely. So not personal, but of course everybody takes it as personal. And I remember getting in my car and driving and not wanting to. I was so embarrassed, and just such a failure. And it was a rough time because I thought that I was doing really well at my job, and you made all these connections, and being from a small town, I really took it very personal. So about a week went by, and the printer that we worked with at this liquor company that printed all of our POS and labels and all that kind of stuff, they contacted me and said, we'd love to have you. Like, we're not hiring, but we'd love to have you. We know you're great, and we see the work you do. And so I interviewed and got the job immediately. So then that was my second job, and it was a place called Industry Images. So there we worked with a lot of the nightlife, so did lots of restaurants and bars downtown Calgary, and it was a very fun job. We had pool tables and foosball tables and video games, and we had a stage where we all played our instruments. And as a graphic designer, it was just like the Facebook headquarters of graphic design.
Yeah, I was going to say, like Google.
It's exactly what it was. So that was such a fun job. And then again, kind of turn of events, one day we went into the office and they said, you no longer have a job tomorrow. We have grown too big, too fast. Our CEO he started the company when he was 19, and by 28 he had 12 or 13 offices across Canada, and it was just one day it was doors closed. Receivership is what they called it. So again, I'm just slapped to the face, and what am I going to do?
Wow. And at this point you're like, what am I supposed to be told here? Like, what am I supposed to be learning from these?
There's only so many times you can fall down, and it's like you got to pick yourself up. And I think that I learned a lot during those times.
Isn't that is what I hear more and more. And it's like, seems to be the story, right? Like you're not seeing you're not learning and growing on beautiful pictures on Instagram.
Yes.
You're growing in the nitty-gritty, dirty, ugly parts in between that we often don't want anybody to see, but it's starting to be more and more okay to be more vulnerable and to share those things and to realize that you actually get to use that to like gift somebody else
definitely
the knowledge that maybe they are going through something super crap as well. And like, you know what? There's always another door. You have to pivot and learn, and that's almost like entrepreneurship 101.
100%,
right?
yeah. I just went to the Power of Success, so Tony Robbins and Rachel Hollis and a bunch of other amazing speakers in Calgary a couple of weeks ago, and out of the whole entire event, the thing that I took the most from was Molly Bloom's story, who I'd never heard of before, but it was her story, and there's a movie called Molly's Game, which I still haven't seen yet. Have you seen it?
I have.
Okay.
Really intriguing.
It is really, and the biggest thing that I took away was that she kept getting knocked down, or she got knocked down to the lowest peg, and that's where the most growth came from, and that's where she kind of learned all her lessons. And you know, no matter how bad it gets, you can always pull yourself out, but you got to have the heart, right?
Yes, and just like surrounding yourself with like a support system and people who are gonna tell you the things that the good, bad, and ugly that you need to hear in those moments to help. It's lonely sometimes being in not an isolated, but in an industry or a career path where you don't maybe have a big office of people around you and you're working solo and different things, and it's hard to feel like you just start listening to the things that you tell yourself in your head sometimes, which isn't always.
And I think our society too, I mean, we're going the way of more authenticity. Whereas 2 or 3 or 5 years ago, it was all about that picture perfect view like, of your...
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly. And I think that what I gravitate more towards these days is the authentic self, the stories, the Instagram stuff that's real and raw. And the struggles are what I take the most from, you know, in people's journeys, and not the success. It's usually the struggles and how did they deal with it, right?
Well, that's exactly it. And how did you pivot and turn it into something? I mean, because all of us know when you're in the middle of it, you're not able to have sort of that like always that self-reflective, oh, that's right, I'm just going to sit here and be happy in the middle of this horrible, crappy time. I'm just going to know that a door is opening, right? Obviously, that's not how it works, but to be able to remind yourself as you reflect on things that have happened, and as you're saying, having 2 experiences of coming in and haven't had done anything wrong.
Exactly.
It's just circumstance, which is a hard pill to swallow.
Yes.
That you've seen how that has like brought you to where had you stayed in these really cool businesses that were like fun to work at, you maybe would still be there and eventually being like, I'm 100%. Maybe ready for something more, right? But not necessarily had the courage to do it.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that happened for me was having my dad in the back of my head all the time saying like, you can do more, and so he always said, well, if business is your passion and that's what you want to do, just have a backup plan. Always have a backup plan. That's his motto, and he's always got lots going on, but he's always got plan B. Right. Always.
Right.
So having said that, when I started at Industry Images, I started doing a logo, and then I redid my logo because nobody likes what they're doing for themselves, right? And then I probably redid that logo 10 or 12 or 20 times. I had a business plan, and there was always that plan, someday when when everything falls into place, I will do this. Well, when we were told that day, we went out and had a few drinks that night, and by 9 a.m. the next morning, I was waiting at the Alberta registries, ready to open my business, Bark Design Studio.
Wow.
And that's kind of how Bark started. So it was there, and it was like you said, when one door closes, the other one opens, and it was just the timing felt right, and I was so devastated that this had happened twice, and I thought the only way I can control this is if I'm in control.
Right.
So the only way that I can prevent this from happening is if I work my butt off and just do it myself and take on all the responsibility and all the risk and just control it fully. So I hit the ground running, and I still have people, graphic designers in particular, but all entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs saying, how did you get your client list, and how do you work with big liquor distributors and Labatt head office, and how do you have these clients? And it's just they kind of fell into my lap, but I've had to work hard and stay in my business and And it was really a blessing in disguise what happened at my last job.
100%. Well, and you never know when you're in a business, you never know how different people are going to come full circle in your life and in your
Definitely.
journey, right? Like, yes, it was a client of somewhere else, and something closes, and it's just the relationships are just so important, and how
definitely. And I've always thrived on that, and that's something also that I took from my dad, is just loyalty with clients and how you treat people, and I do believe that, you know, everything will come back to you, and like you say, those relationships are full circle for sure. So
that's amazing.
A lot of my clients I've had, you know, since my starting years, you know, like they go way back, and I just feel like they're family now.
Well, totally. And that says something really big about you.
Yeah,
like for that to be the case, and it's gone through different businesses and different things, but for that to be a following, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you're based out of Regina, Saskatchewan, but you have clients all across the entire country. I know for like some people that are listening, a same kind of thing, not necessarily even in the graphic design business, but in whatever business they're in, where they are able to work at a remote way that you don't have to be face to face on a regular basis with their clients. That I would imagine is a question that you probably get a lot, like you just said, like how do you get those types of clients? And I think that wherever you are right now, you have to just be building the relationships. If growing a business or owning a business, whether you're in one, starting one, been in 20 years and are trying to evolve into something more, I think that is such an important thing. So what would you say, like, I know that you are a busy gal and you have lots on the go in your business. How would you say, like, you kind of market? Do you have to market yourself?
We never have had to, which is the best problem to have.
Yes, totally.
We've always been busy. We have maintained 95% of our clients since I started my business in 2010.
Wow.
So we have a real kind of long-standing client list, and a lot of those clients have been with us. Of course, we pick up clients, and now I'm working to niche down into female entrepreneurs, and I really enjoy working with them, and I really understand them, which is something that I pride Bark on, is that we really try to understand our clients and understand their needs and their market and their target audience, right? So we have to change the way that we think. So we definitely can be a little pickier now on the clients that we select, but those clients that have been with us forever, it is such a digital world, and I have such a good relationship. Some of them I've never met, you know, but I feel like I've known them my whole entire life. And now with technology, I mean, even in the last 2-3 years with Zoom and Loom and all the apps, it makes it super possible to feel as if you're sitting in a coffee shop with them, and it's such a great network to have. You know, you can have more than one person on a call, or when we do a logo package, I really, really like to understand the client. So that usually includes, if I can't sit down in person with them, even a phone chat is better than an email or a text.
Just to feel out their personality and voice.
Yeah. So I would say the video is obviously number one. Sitting down over a glass of wine. I always say, do you want to come for a glass of wine or a cup of coffee? Because I feel like that's more comfortable, and it's more kind of what we're going for.
Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and if you are anything like me, you are on the lookout for creative ways to show your significant other, bestie, and special people in your life that you care. I've curated an adorable, delicious, and unique candy grazing box for your Valentine's this year. I'll do the heavy lifting and deliver a beautiful, delectable candy grazing box right to your door, or as a surprise to a friend's door on your behalf on Friday, February 14th, or any date you wish. Free delivery in Saskatoon and shipping available across Canada. There are only 50 boxes available, and you can find all of the details and order online at celebratingsimplelife.com. And just for listening to the podcast, and because I think you are so sweet, you get an exclusive code to receive 15% off your first Valentine's box with the code CELEBRATE15. That's an incredible savings to order today. Go to celebratingsimplelife.com and use the code CELEBRATE15, because today is a great day to celebrate.
What is something that makes you unique? I know you just addressed a little bit here in how you feel like one of the things that you pride yourself in is like just understanding and knowing the client, which I think a lot of people wouldn't think that would be important maybe as graphic design. Like, oh, you're a graphic designer. What information do you really need to know to make something spectacular? But in working with you on projects, I understand now how you being involved in conversations and different things is able to spark this like almost like intuitive thing that turns this into how you get to put together what you put together for a client. It's not just...
Yeah, definitely. I think that there are a lot of apps nowadays that I want to say might replace my career, but they won't, because they don't offer that same value in really understanding the business, or if it's a personal brand, the person. So we really work with them to say, what do they like? You know, we have a brand questionnaire, a logo questionnaire. We really do a deep dive into who the client is and then who they are targeting. So, you know, versus going onto an app and paying $5 and getting a logo. A logo is just it's just a word mark. It's a logo. It has zero personal connection. And I always tell people, you have to be really invested kind of emotionally and financially in your brand to be super excited about it, because you know, it is you and it becomes you, and I've become Bark, like it is me. So I feel like whether it be a big corporate, you know, financial planning company or a hairstylist or a blogger, it becomes part of your day-to-day life. And I think that in today's society, people need to stand out. You know, there's a lot of the same thing. So if you want to stand out in society amongst businesses of the same type, then you need to be invested and you need to be super passionate about your own brand.
Well, and almost being able to pinpoint what their niche is. Like how you mentioned you're growing into the niche of female entrepreneurs and figuring out what that niche is, so that there is something, everybody has something really unique about them, and you kind of have to find the right way to brand that, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's always, I mean, it's not always about what I like. It's about what the client likes and who are they attracting. You know, we do a dance studio, and so what does a dance mom like? Probably not the same thing that I'm gonna like. I'm a boy mom,
right?
But I can see what their target kind of audience is, and I can work with that because I know who I'm trying to attract. So whether it be subliminal and it's a little hidden, you know, something in the graphics, or color palette, or bath bombs. We just did a post, and I'm like, dance moms, you know, just knowing and understanding who they are trying to attract, and if they don't have that follower, and I'm kind of referring to social media, but if they're not already following, how do we get their attention and get them to follow us, or get them to pay attention? So...
Oh, that's so true. I love that. Well, and I find in my career as an event coordinator, it's similar sometimes where there's things where I'm like, that's not necessarily my style or my color palette, but it's not about that. That's what makes a person good at what they do. Because if very my style was on every single event that I ever created, that would be the most boring palette ever, because it would never be different, right? And that's kind of the exciting part about it, is that you get to put on the shoes of somebody else and play.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. You get it.
So we have had lots of fun working together on the upcoming Shine Summit event in October. And so Bark Design Studio is the graphic design company behind the Shine Summit. And this is where I felt like I've really started to understand more I own my business. I have branded my business. Like, I understand the concept of this, but where I've gotten to see sort of your inner workings of things as to how you come up with the conversations we're having, and the way that you and I have only met a few times, but yet you knew exactly what this was that Michelle Strawford and I have wanted as our vision for Shine from the very beginning. And it didn't take very long. It was like mere moments, and you were like, yeah, I got this.
Oh yeah.
But I could tell that it was a very intuitive thing for you, that you were excited about it because you could feel our excitement almost towards it.
Yeah.
So what would you say for people that are either just launching a business or, like I said before, been in business for 20 years and maybe they need a new direction, and you can't stay complacent, right?
Yes.
Business is always growing and evolving and changing.
Yeah.
What would you describe from your perspective as like what would be the difference? Before you said something about how a logo is just sort of like text or an image or like something. What would you describe as the difference between, oh, hey, I have a logo for my business versus branding a business?
There is definitely a big difference there, and I'll describe it as best as I can. A logo is, something that you've paid to have done, and it's a stamp on your business. It's a word mark, and it visually represents your business. However, it doesn't create a mood usually. So when we did Shine, it's pretty, it's gorgeous. At first glance, people will get the effect, with the rays and kind of everything that's going on. The supporting brand, so kind of on the flip side of it, the supporting brand is the feeling and the mood that people feel when they see your Instagram account. So at first glance, it's textures, it's a color palette. So even though there's only 2 colors in the Shine logo, we have a primary color palette, and we have that secondary beautiful color palette that we've pulled from, and we've brought in florals, and we've brought in textures and blankets and all of the extra stuff that just give the real full picture of what the brand is versus just the logo.
Well, and almost like what people can expect is like the event hasn't happened yet.
Definitely.
So nobody can be like, oh yeah, I remember that from last year.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
What they can expect.
That's exactly it. So when we develop our brand package, you get your logos and you get all of those specifics, that you're going to put on social media and all this stuff. But the brand is so much more than that. It's really, like I said, the mood and pulling all those things together so that when you look at that brand package, you just get a feeling for the event, like you said, without even being there.
Right.
It's great for the photographer. So the photographer is coming to do a shoot. It's great to give her an idea. It's great for models to, all the people involved in the event. It's just a really great way to show them visually what the event or the business is all about.
Right. And then it's always something then, once somebody has this branding strategy or package, they can always make sure that they are reflecting back to that so that it's staying on brand and not like, oh, we're on brand and then whoop, going over here.
Brand consistency is huge. We'll talk about that lots with our clients. If we're on somebody's Instagram or see something that they're putting out that just doesn't go with their brand, we'll always say, hey, just wondering about this, and we kind of like to advise in that direction, because it is people, they say people need to see things, 16 times before it registers.
It's like getting higher and higher over the years.
Yes,
I know.
It
used to be like 7. Now it's like
there's
1
so
million.
much stuff out there, right?
Totally.
So you just need that repetition, whether it be in fonts, or the single hairline that goes on all your text, or whether it be your email signature, and just having everything really consistent and professional. And we always say that we're kind of, we like to provide agency level design, so lots of background and deep dives into the concept and brainstorming of a logo, but then we also have the intimacy of like a real small firm, right?
Very boutique.
So full-time there's just Carmen and I, and then we have contract designers, but we really try to make the process intimate and make the client, as involved as they can. And then we pride ourselves on providing unique brand solutions, so not a little bit outside the box, but something that the client's comfortable with and that they may not have thought about. So.
Oh, I love that. Well, we are so excited to have you involved with our event from a design perspective and panelist and being a part of it all, and it's going to be so great. So I always wrap up my podcast with asking the same 5 questions because I find it so intriguing to hear the answers of everyone, and it gets like just a little like snippet into like day-to-day life with Chelsey.
Got it.
So what is one thing that you do in the morning as often as you can, or every day if you're that dedicated, that like sets the tone for your day?
Okay, well, I would have to say my bulletproof coffee, and the only reason I say that is because I have a 18-month little boy.
Busy.
So we're busy. My morning kind of involves around him, and it's like, how can we get both of us out the door in one piece? And the thing that gets me through is my bulletproof coffee.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. It does get easier as they get older.
Yes, I've heard.
I'll give you that as hopeful, but that doesn't help in the stage right now when they are 18 months and it's not easier.
Yes, I feel like after bedtime, that's the me time. The morning.
That's right. The mornings are not the time for me time at this stage.
Yes. No rituals.
No rituals. Okay, so then that answered my next question was, what's your coffee order? Which
Okay.
you're like bulletproof coffee, but like let's say you're like running past some cute coffee shop.
Okay.
What do we order?
I'm an Americano girl.
Oh, yum.
With room.
Yeah.
I was also just telling the girls today that I am a Starbucks cold brew with Cascara cold foam girl. Have you ever had it?
You know what? I have had the one that recently, had come out like a while ago with the salted caramel foam.
Same idea.
Yeah.
This one is like a maple. Oh, it's delish. But yeah, hot Americano, cold.
Yeah. Oh, that's
cold
fair.
Brew. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Both
I do love
great
my
orders.
coffee. I
Yeah.
do love my coffee.
Yeah.
A lot.
What is something that you have in your purse? Like always will have this in your purse.
Oh, I would have to say my sister's a dental hygienist and I always steal the little lip bullets. You know, the little
Yes.
minis? I always have it in my pocket. I probably have one in my pocket right now. I'm like lip bullet girl.
Yeah.
Or Victoria's Secret rollerball perfumes.
Me too.
Love them.
Twinning.
One in every purse.
One in every purse. Every time I'm there, I'm like, oh, better buy one more.
Yeah,
because
gotta
I don't need
stock
to trade
up.
this
And
into
we don't
another purse.
we don't have one in Regina, so I definitely stock up.
See? Yeah, you're in the right town
Yes,
here.
I know.
Yeah.
I need to make a stop.
That's awesome. So as you said, you're a busy mama and entrepreneur. So what is one thing that you try to do for self-care to protect your mental health and your being?
Well, I need to get on the meditation train. I'm not there yet, but this is in my 90-day goals.
Okay.
As Carrie would say.
We'll learn that together.
I would say bubble baths. I just like that's my time.
That's classic.
I don't take my phone. I have a clawfoot tub and sparkly tiles, and I get in there and I light a candle, and I just like it's me time. And I really, it's where I'm with my thoughts.
Oh, that's.
But my phone doesn't come in because
No.
if I have my phone, I'm on it. So that is my I've tried the no phone beside the bed.
Yeah.
Doesn't work because in the middle of the night when I have a brainwave of ideas, I have to make
has
notes.
to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the bubble bath, I would say.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that.
Love my bath.
So lastly, if you could only leave one piece of information for our listeners listening today who are on a journey of life and maybe business and everything in between, what would be something that you would say to them?
That's a tough one. I would say if you're not an entrepreneur and you're thinking about it, some would say just dive into it, do it, rip the Band-Aid off, quit your job, make educated guesses. I would say, or there's the saying that says, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I would cross that out probably, and I would say if you do something you love, you're going to work every day of your life and probably twice as hard as you've ever worked before in your life, but it will 100% be worth it.
Oh, I love that.
So I think that you have to be willing to put in the hard work, and of course there's risk and reward, and there's everything that comes with it. But I think in today's society there's a lot of people that think owning your own business is easy. It's definitely not. It's a lot of hours and a lot of hard work, but that's outweighed by Fridays at the lake and being able to go for coffee and do podcasts with your new friends.
Exactly.
And so yeah, if you're willing to put in the work, then I'd say do it.
Oh, I love that. So where can people find you, Chelsey, and Bark Design Studios on social media?
So we do have a website. So we're www.barkdesignstudio.com. We have a little bit of a portfolio on there. Probably the best place to find us is on Instagram, and our handle is at Bark Design Studio. Okay. And I'm Bark Design Chelsey.
Bark Design Chelsey.
Bark Design
I love it. Well, we will tag this all in our show notes so that people can find you and chit chat and get to know you more. But thank you. This was lovely chatting with you.
Thanks for having me. Such a pleasure.
This show would not be possible without you, my incredible listeners. It would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to Celebrating Simple Life on Apple Podcasts or download and listen on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you choose to listen. If you really want to make my day, leave a review. These reviews, ratings, and sharing screenshots of podcast episodes that were engaging for you on your Instagram stories and tagging friends that you think should hear the episode too really helps the podcast grow. It makes me so happy that I often select reviews to read on the show, and if yours is chosen, you will receive a special gift from me. Thank you for being a part of my mission to connect stories of business and life. Cheers to Celebrating Simple Life.